/Family King Fire. You go to GoFundMe.com. And if you're so inclined, please donate to help the family out. We would really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. All right, so let's go on to the question of the day. Question of the day comes from Andrew. Andrew is based out of Ohio. And Andrew's question is this: how long does it take to build credit? Excellent question. I get that question all the time when people call me up and they want my services to help them restore their credit. How long will it take? How long is it going to take me to get my credit right? And the answer is always it depends. If I haven't looked at your credit yet, I really can't tell you, how bad or how good, or, if you're in a fair range, where are you at and what's going to happen with it. But so it depends. So it's not an exact science, if you will. So there are, I would say typically it takes 6 to 12 months. So I don't want you to be dismayed or discouraged because it may take 6 to 12 months. Again, that's a wide range, and it is really personal. This is personal finance, and some people it may go a little faster. Other people may not go as fast. So it really depends on what kind of situation you're in and what we're able to do to manipulate, if you will, your credit score. So what you should do is to start right away. So if you're looking to improve your credit report, you should start right away. And if you're able to do some things on your credit report in the first, like some disputes and things of that nature, and get some of those things off, start to pay down some debt, I would say you would see some improvement in the first 45 to 60 days. You should definitely see some improvement. And the reason sometimes it takes that long is simply because the credit bureaus update once a month. So it doesn't matter that you have Credit Karma and they update every 7 days, or you have somebody else and they update every 14 days. The actual credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, they really only update once a month. So once you have a transaction on there, you get something taken off your credit report, you dealt with that collection and now it's gone, it's still going to take 30 to 45 days for everything to kind of get in the wash and for them to reevaluate your credit and see what they're going to do with your score. So it'll take 45 to 60 days. You should see some improvement coming there. And so if you clear some items and or you got some errors or something like that, and you're able to demonstrate that they're not yours, then it'll help your score a lot sooner. It'll definitely do that. At the same time, you still need to make sure that you pay everything on time. Pay everything on time and be consistent about that. So if you're starting out trying to rebuild your credit or to establish credit, you've got to pay on time. Just one late payment can lower your score by 30 points or more. So you don't want to hurt yourself by not making that payment on time. And I've said it before, and I hate to give this advice, you never want to be 30 days late. So if you've got to be late, you've got to bite the bullet, and you've got to take, the late fee or whatever other fees that they charge you. You're going to have to do that, but you do not want to be 30 days late. And I wouldn't try to push it and run up and make a payment at the 29th day that you're late, because you may get caught in a catch-22, if you will. So you might get caught in a catch-22 where the payment doesn't process, as fast as you think that it would, and then it's reflected that you're actually 30 days late when you aren't. Now, of course, there's some things you can do to get around that, but why bother? If that was the case, then you can always do a dispute, which again will take another 30 days, maybe 35 if you have to mail it. So then there's no need to do any of that. You might have to do a dispute. You might have to call the particular company and try to get them to fix it. But why go through all of that? Just make your payment on time. That's the first rule of having good credit as it is. And that's not the only thing, of course, because you've been listening to the 800 Credit Score Man show for quite some time. It's not the only factor that governs your credit score, but it is the largest factor that governs your credit score. 35% of your score is based off how well you make payments. So you've got to make your payments and make them on time. There's no time like the present to go ahead and start from scratch, if you will. If you've had late payments in the past, and maybe it's been 4 months ago, maybe it's been 2 years ago, go ahead and start from where you are, because you got to start somewhere. The journey. What do they say about the journey? And the journey starts with the first step. You got to take that first step. So, Andrew, thank you so very much. I appreciate you. You are officially a part of the 800 Credit Score Man Show family. Thank you very much for your question, and I hope I answered that for you directly. All right, so then let's go. I haven't given a shout out today yet. So let's do a shout out right quick. So I want to do a shout out to Anissa Cook. Anissa is having a birthday. I believe it's on the 13th. So happy birthday to you, Anissa. I also want to give a shout out to Lori Sheffy. She celebrated a birthday earlier. She may even be out of the country celebrating. So happy birthday to you. Of course, she can even get the 800 Credit Score Man Show out of the country because it's available on iTunes, on Spreaker.com, on Stitcher, on Google Play. So she can get it as well, and she can hear me no matter where she is in the world. You can hear the 800 Credit Score Man Show. So thank you very much for listening to the show. And those are the two shout outs I wanted to give for right now. And so let's move on a little bit. Let's move on. Since we've been, before we move on, so after you do your whole collection thing and you make the agreement and you make your payment to the collection agency, and they did agree that they would remove it from your credit report, don't just trust that. Don't just trust that they will remove it. If you can, get it in writing first. Get it in writing. Have them send you an email. Some places don't want to email, but have them send it to you in email so you can have record that they said that they would actually remove it from your credit report. You definitely want to do that. And then you need to follow up. You need to follow up. And when I say follow up, I don't necessarily mean with the collection agency. I mean, you need to follow and look at your credit report. It may take 30 to 45 days, maybe 40 days for them to have everything updated and it showing correctly. But you need to follow up. You need to go back and look at your credit report. You can look at it for free, of course, at www.creditkarma.com. You can look at Experian at www.credit.com. You can see Experian there. And Credit Karma, you can see both TransUnion and Equifax. So then that governs all three of them. You can see them there. So make sure you go back and follow up. Now, if they don't do what they said they were going to do, as far as removing it, then you need to contact them. If you can't get any satisfaction there, you can always dispute it. And I know, especially with TransUnion, and you do it electronically, there is an option to say that the credit agency promised to remove it from your credit bureau, and they just haven't as of yet. So that's all you have to do is do a dispute there, and then you make sure that it comes off your credit report. But keep following up. So if you follow that strategy about your collections, I want you to do me a favor. Drop me a line. Let me know how it went. Let me know if it worked, if it didn't work, what you did different from what I said. If you follow my instructions right away, how much money did you save? Because that's saving you money. Even when I talk about increasing your credit score and lowering your interest rate, saving you money, this collection portion is also saving you money and hopefully increasing your score at the same time. So send me the information. Let me know how it worked out for you. 800 Credit Score Man at gmail.com. That's 800 Credit Score Man at gmail.com. Thank you very much. And of course, you guys can always catch me on Facebook, 800 Credit Score Man on Facebook. Join the Facebook group, Credit Score Comeback. I drop a lot of articles in there. We have a few discussions every now and then about credit and how this whole system works all throughout the week. So join that Facebook group, Credit Score Comeback. Credit Score Comeback. Join that Facebook group. And then also you can always catch me on Twitter at Credit Score_Man. I will always follow you back on Twitter. So catch me there. Credit Score_Man on Twitter as well. All right. So look, it's almost time for the show to be over. And I wanted to get to something else since we were on the topic of collections. And we talked about the collection thing and how to get rid of them and everything like that. What I want to talk about is how to avoid them in the first place. How about that? How about we do that? How about we just avoid having collections in the very first place? That would be the best thing there. It's obvious, right, that you got to pay your bills on time. That would be the most simplest thing to do, is to pay your bills on time, and you won't have to worry about collections. I know that's easier said than done because life happens. You may lose a job, there may be an illness, there just may be an unexpected expense, or maybe you're moving from one place to another and bills get lost or what have you, and it may go to collections. But avoid collections at all costs if you can. Now, one of the best ways to avoid collections is, besides paying the bill, of course, is to contact your creditor. Please contact your creditors. Do not avoid them. Stop dodging their phone calls and throwing away their letters and all of those things. You need to go ahead and contact your creditors and let them know what's going on. There's a lot of time between you missing your first payment and something getting to collections. Sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's 9 months or even longer before something gets to collections for you. So call your creditors and talk to them about what's going on, what's happening. Don't just throw your hands up, because I know I've had people that get frustrated simply because they were doing really well, trying to work on their credit, and then they missed the payment. So they missed the payment on a credit card, or they missed the car payment or something, and now they feel like that 30 to 40 point drop just killed everything that they were working on for a year, or killed whatever they were working on for 2 years, or whatever it is. Do not give up. Do not give up. And the reason I'm telling you don't give up, because being late one time is not going to necessarily kill your credit score and take you another 6 to 12 months to get it back. That's not necessarily the case. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about goodwill letters. If you've been paying somebody forever, you've been paying them on time, and you become late one time, that company should receive you a goodwill letter from you, and a goodwill letter will say to them, my bad, I know that I was late, but I want you to do me a favor and to take that off of my credit report. Now, if you do that, you've been late one time, maybe they'll grant that for you. But if you've been late and then they've been calling you 100 times, and now you've been late 2 months, and now you're late 3 months and 4 months, then a goodwill letter is not going to do you any good at all. All right, so make sure that you don't give up and you go ahead and you contact your creditors. I wrote an article a long time ago that said the second worst thing that you can do was to avoid your creditors. So do not avoid your creditors. Give them a call. You want to try to mitigate your circumstances. So go ahead and call your creditor and see what they can do for you. Some of your options may be a refinance. You may be able to skip a payment. They may be able to put the payment on the end of your loan or something like that. So there are other options that you may not be aware of that you won't have to come out of so much money. So if you owe somebody and your payment is regularly $250, it's potentially for an interest payment that you may only have to pay them $12 or $17, something of that nature. That's much more doable usually than a whole payment of $250. So make sure that you go ahead and you contact your creditors. That's what I wanted to tell you guys today when it comes to coming down to collections and trying to avoid them. I want you guys to do that. So let me give you another shout out real quick. I got to shout out Carla Baker. Carla is celebrating a birthday on the 13th. So happy birthday to you, Carla. She's down in the state of Florida. Nice and sunny down there, I'm sure. So happy birthday to you. And then since we're talking about collections and getting the collections done and all of those things, make sure that if you have any questions at all, you go back and you listen to the show about collections. I think it's entitled Collections, How to Handle Them. Go back and listen to that show. I really give painstaking detail on how you should deal with your collections as well in that particular show. So go back and listen to the show. I had somebody contact me on Instagram. I am on Instagram too. I didn't mention that earlier, and that's 800 Credit Score Man on Instagram as well. Somebody contacted me that they binge listened to the show And so they got a lot of information. I hope they